It's Friday, June 19th. I'm Mike Rogers, and this is Comic Book Steals and Deals. Over at Mutant Beaver today, I showed you this morning on Instagram what they had. I tried to find most of those things elsewhere just so you'd pay a lower price and not so much on shipping. The ones I couldn't find, though, were the Momoko Canto that they have over there. That's Canto number 1 of the second series, The Hollow Man. They had this Parrillo Vampirella that I showed in my Instagram this morning that's just incredible. The Venom 26, the mystery villain, it's the only place I can find it right now. The Spider-Woman number 1, the Ross and the Dell'Ott, those just kind of took me away. I'm sort of re-examining those Spider-Womans now that we're away from that whole event. You can kind of like go back and look at which ones you like. I'm finding a bunch of ones that I'd never seen before, including that Dell'Ott. Strange Academy, the Skotti Young cover. And that's pretty much the one you want to get, the Strange Academy one, the Skotti Young cover, because he's the writer as well. So you got Ramos with the interiors, Skotti Young doing the writing. If you had the Skotti Young cover with that, that would be perfect. So that was pretty much the only place I could find the Skotti Young variant was over at Mutant Beaver. And then the Jenika Kael new player select cover. This was... I had this somewhere, and it's I don't know. It's the only place that I can find it right now. Basically, this looks like you're playing a video game of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter, and you're selecting your players. One player is Jenika, the other players I'm not quite sure because I'm just not up that up on my Street Fighter. But there's some missing squares below, and it kind of predated this whole thing when The Last Ronin came up, when Jenika came up. So it was it's an interesting variant. They have it over there as well. If you're into the whole if you're really into the whole Jenika thing and you're really into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you might want to check that out. Over at Slabbed Heroes today, they're having a buy one get half off on slabs. Now this is their Slabbed Heroes. They're all slabs. Great website. So the ones that I pointed out that I was like, if you're interested, they're all 9.8s that I saw. They have a Giang Shredder. There's a Giang Shredder, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 100. So this is the most lifelike Shredder you've ever seen. I don't know if you've ever seen this cover. I pointed it out before, but it's Shredder completely lifelike, and he's in your face with his claws kind of crossed in front of you. It's an amazing cover. They have that one for $79.99 and a 9.8. They have DCeased number 1, the Quintana black and white. This is what I call the baby doll Harley Quinn because it's a black and white cover. She's asleep on Joker's lap. Joker looks insane, of course, but her face has never been done this way. Beautiful. 9.8 for $89.99. And then a Daredevil number 1, the Seinkovich cover. This looks like the end of Gladiator when the guy is going to heaven and going to see his wife. It's Daredevil standing in a field, and there's the sun coming through, and he's holding out his hand, and I believe it's Elektra in the field standing there. So it's almost like he's died, and it's an amazing cover, and it's done by Seinkovich. It's the only place I'd ever seen it. Again, it's over at Slabbed Heroes. That was $89.99. And then they had a Venom 1 by Seinkovich, which, did I just put that away? Oh, I had it all queued up and everything. Once I get to the second part of the show, I'll show you it. For $64.99. So, when you're looking at a $64.99 9.8, you're buying... They probably do half off the most expensive one. But if you were to do the two Seinkoviches, the Daredevil one and the Venom one, you're paying $64.99 for one, or you're paying $89.99 for one, and you're paying like $33 for the other. So I would try to take advantage of that deal today. That's why I gave you the examples there. Over at Mighty Thorpe Comics. Now, as always, they have the deal where it's $14 shipped. That's the most they're ever going to charge you for shipping. And that's a flat rate UPS flat rate box. If you pay for your shipping and it fits into a smaller box, they're going to refund you the money. They're the only place that I know that did it. I always call it out because they're the only place I know that does that. Now, they're doing a 20% off next week's titles. and just I've linked the entire website. They just check out the entire website. Their selection is amazing. They've got, you'll see they have the deals of the day. They have and then 15 to 20% up to 20% off on next week's comics. So check that out. Over at Amorphous Inc., I wanted to, they have the Negan Lives #1. Now this just came out of nowhere. I didn't see this in Preview Magazine. I didn't see this anywhere. So just as Walking Dead ended, Negan Lives 1 seems to just come out of nowhere. Now this book is going to be, there are going to be a lot of copies of this book. You can get it at Amorphous Inc. for $4.99. There was a silver copy and a gold, silver foil and a gold foil. And they sold out immediately. So as soon as I got the email from all these places were like, Negan Lives #1, The Walking Dead continues, I was like, oh, what? Went to the website. There was a gold and a silver already sold out on every website. And they were like $200 to $300. There was $200 for the silver, $300 for the gold. Immediately sold out. This is what's going to be left over. If you think about Walking Dead 1, the reason why that comic book is worth so much money is that a lot of people didn't order heavy on that comic book when it was ordered because it was a brand new series. Nobody knew who Robert Kirkman was. Nobody knew what Walking Dead was. It wasn't a thing. So not heavily ordered, and then it became this giant thing. So those comic books went to wherever they are, $1,500 now for like a 9.8 or whatever it is. This is not going to do that. This is going to be an important book, but they're going to print 1 billion of these because everybody wants one. So feel free to grab one, but you might want to wait to see if some type of limited variant comes out, just because that's going to be a heavily printed book. $4.99 at Amorphous Inc. They also have Wolverine, the Wolverine Infinity Watch 1. Okay, so this is a brand new thing, hasn't happened yet. And you could pre-order these books. Now this is, and I've talked about it before, but I guess I just didn't understand what it was. It's Wolverine with the Infinity Gauntlet, all the gems in his hand, and his claws are coming up through the Infinity Gauntlet. It is an amazing cover. The A cover is that, and the B cover is Wolverine as a Skrull. Now, if you have been reading comic books since the 90s, at least since the 2000s, you'd know that there were a lot of Skrull things that kind of came and went and never anything happened. And now it seems that it's definitely part of Captain Marvel's story. But I don't know how much more they're going to invest in Captain Marvel. I don't know how much more they're going to invest in Brie Larson. So the Skrulls are always that question mark out there. Like, are they going to do it? What are these things? They're the ultimate, chameleons, so they can hide anywhere, as we saw in the Captain Marvel movie. So there's a million different ways you can go with the Skrulls. They just have never really done it. And actually, in the early 2000s, around 2010, I was so sick of it, I hated it. Anything that had the Skrulls on it, I avoided like the plague. So we'll see what happens this time around. But this Infinity Watch #1... there's a lot of big series from Marvel coming out soon. Probably, big summer events. Makes sense. So we'll have to see which ones wash out. But these have some pretty cool covers. They also have Black Order #4. This is a John Tyler Christopher cover. This is a black and white with ruby red color splash. Very familiar. This is just a black and white woman's face with a bob cut. Looks like she would have blonde hair, but it's black and white. And there's just only certain things are red on her. This cover is like, boom. It just jumps right out at you. Again, I know nothing about Black Order. I know a lot about John Tyler Christopher. He does all those negative variants that we love. Excuse me. And that sell out immediately. So I don't know what Black Order is, but I do know John Tyler Christopher, and this is a striking cover, $3.49 over at Amorphous Inc. They have the Valkerie Savior, $15.99, the Hughes homage, that I've had seen immediately sell out at places, but then I realized there's like these naughty versions and stuff like that, so I don't know how seriously people are taking this cover. It could just be that market that likes those covers that's buying this, the Harley Thins and all that stuff. But it is still an interesting cover, I gotta say. Classic Adam Hughes. It's not Adam Hughes, but it's classic Adam Hughes. Only at Sanctum Sanctorum. These are books that they only have at Sanctum Sanctorum. They have the Scan Last Ronin. This is a Virgin variant. This is a cover swipe of the Frank Miller Daredevil series, where Daredevil is down in the corner and you got like 1,000 ninjas pouring in at him. It's that cover swipe, but just done in a much more artful manner. That is done by Scan, sorry, and that's the cover swipe. Lots of white space, sketch or ink with color splash. Really good looking. They also have the TMNT Jenika #1. This is the In Huck Lee for 1999, the Virgin variant. If you haven't seen this one, there's two with the Jenikas, the painted covers. You got the Giang, you've got the Matina, and you've got the In Huck Lee. Those are the most striking. Oh, and then there's the one from Artgerm as well. We'll get to that one in the end. These are the most striking Jenikas that if you weren't even into the series, you might want to own because they're just so good looking. So Sanctum Sanctorum, you're going to find the In Huck Lee for 1999. They've also re-upped on their comic books, so you can get Something's Healing the Children. I keep banging this drum because something's going to happen with this. The series is way too cool for it not to. They have so there's the #1, the Jenny Frizen, with the main character. I gotta write down her name, with the knife in front of her face, kind of in her face, and it's a bloody knife. Now they have a color version of this. It's a foil cover for $49.99. It's a Virgin variant. They also have, which they was sold out for before, has always sold out. When you see this book, you can always get the color, but you can't always get the black and white. They have the black and white for $10 less at $39.99. This is a color splash. It's got a little color on it. Same Jenny Frizen cover with the color splash, Virgin variant for $10 less, which is interesting. It's a harder book to find. They have Web of Venom Wraith. Okay? So there's this Web of Venom Wraith series that I have never even... Maybe it's a one-shot. I think it said 1 of 5. Hadn't heard about this. Nobody's talking about this. It's a 1 in 50. It's $99.99. This is Wraith. This series is Wraith Hunting Null. Okay, so I don't know how we get any more pushed together than two extremely hot characters and basically one, looks like a mini series. I think it's a 5-issue series, but Web of Venom Wraith. This cover is done by, it says the RYP variant, which is, I'm like, is that Kael Rippin? I'm not sure who the RYP variant is, but it's the 1 in 50, $99, Wraith on a motorcycle. This is Wraith Hunting Null. So, I don't know. It kind of sounds like a winner to me. And you can get in cheap. Well, actually, you can't get in cheap. It's $99, but maybe do a little research on it, see what's going on there. Really good looking cover, though. Over at El Rey Comics, they have the press... Oh, they're doing a sale for when you go there, you're going to get to the website, you're going to see, you're going to press this button, it says Momoko 10, and it's 10% off this sale section. So you go in there, they have the John Wick photo cover, John Wick #1, the photo cover with Keanu Reeves on it for $17. They've got the Marvel GameStop, the Marvel 1000, the GameStop that I talked about the other day with just the guys. It's like Thor, Rocket, I don't know if Iron Man's on there. Hulk, literally sitting on a one of those L-shaped couches, playing video games. It's just a great cover. I just love it. It's the GameStop version, $35. Big Time Collectibles. They also have the Negan one. Just if you want another option on that for $4.99. They have the TMNT Jenika. This is the In Huck Lee. Just you have another option at that at $19.99. And the one thing they had there is the Miko Suyon Last Ronin. And that's pretty much the only place you can get that except for Mutant Beaver. So that's over at Big Time Collectibles. At Groundbreaking Comics today, they repopulated the entire website. So they have the designer cover for Batman 92 with Punchline on it. Not the Artgerm cover that nobody wants, but the designer cover. They have that for $50. They have the Immortal Hulk. They just re-upped this. Immortal Hulk #2, the Alex Ross. This is the first Dr. Fry for $65. That sold out. They got that back. They have these 2 Death Metal 5 variants that are just crazy. They're just beautiful. Link below, check them out. And they have the Immortal Hulk number 7. This is the Avengers assembled around Hulk. This was on Comic Tom, had it next to him in his last show, signed by Alex Ross. This one isn't signed, but they have it for $15. Just a great looking book. And that's it over there. Excuse me. Over at Toss Comics, Toss Comics is One Stop Comics, but there's a One Stop Comic Shop and One Stop Comics. The website's called Toss Comics, so just so you know the difference. They have the Matina Jenika. Okay, now this is probably the coolest one of them all. They have a Virgin variant for $29.99. They have a Shell Shock Green for $49.99. This is just, it's kind of like all the color's been taken out, and it's just almost like that matrixy green. It's really cool. It's not that bright. It's very dim, but it's called Shell Shock. Really good looking at $49.99. It's Matina's Jenika, so it's going to be gorgeous anyway. And then the trade is $19.99. Some new comic book shops today. Coliseum Comics. They have Avengers number 33, The Moon Knight, for $3.99. That's pretty much sold everywhere else. They have the Bounty Hunter 1 in 10, the movie cover with IG-88, I think it is, that he's standing next to. Didn't write down the price, but I think it was like $7. Over at Austin Books and Comics, this is a new one. They have a Miles Morales section. You can almost get every Miles Morales all the way up to the end. All of them for $3.99, $4.99. These are in the secondary market. These are selling for they're all selling for like $9 to $12. Unless you pick up the entire series, which you could do for like $40, $50. But they've got them all, except they had one's now gone. They've got almost all of them. They're all the A covers, but it's not really going to matter in a couple of years. So check it out, pick up the ones that you need. They're all at cover price, or just pick up an entire run so that you can have that run ready to go when they do the comic book or do the video game, which is going to be extremely successful, and then they'll do a Miles Morales movie that's not an actual comic book, but not an actual tune, but a live action, and then that series will be Grail. Some things that are coming up. We have Venom 26. Venom 26, the Kael new, is incredible. It is Wraith. Is it Wraith? I want to say it's Wraith. Could be, I think it's Wraith. Could be Null. It's probably Null. Coming, and it's his Spider-Man 300 or Spider-Man 350. It's the, the one that everybody copies. The Todd McFarlane cover. The circle with the person flying through, but it's just off the top of my head, I don't know if it's really, really, really good looking. That's going to be available through Frankie's Comics. Then there's a Peach Momoko Venom 26 that is going to be deadly. I mean, as far as like trying to get this one, this beats the Silver Surfer cover to death. It's like Silver Surfer is just beating that cover to death, his own cover with his board. This is sick. That's coming out Sunday at 2. Frankie's Store number 6, I think it is. The Peach Momoko is coming out tomorrow at 2 p.m., so I'll cover that before 2 p.m. tomorrow. No Heroine number 2 is going to be coming out through Hive Comics on 6/28 at 2 o'clock. This is just going to be the Virgin variant on that. But only 500 of those are available, so that's going to be a tough one too. And J. Scott Campbell has 15% off his Catwoman 80th anniversary with the code CAT15. But I went to that website, and either they're not available yet, or they all sold out. So I don't know what the heck's going on there. I think I still linked it in below, though. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, let's not lose total hope. Remember how I complained about tape? I should probably not complain about tape. But these are still pretty. These amazingly look great. So this is a piece of the cover. That's weird. It's like a little piece of comic book in here that I don't know if it belongs to this comic or. Interesting. This is Cloud Comics presents RCC Duck. And this is just like inappropriate hand-drawn cartoons from 1972 by Tom Hatchman, Joey Epstein, Ned Sonntag. Oh, there's a bunch of people. Bill Skursky. There are a couple names in here that are just people that were doing these underground comics in the late 60s and early 70s that I collect. A lot of them are... I try to stay away from like the inappropriate sexual ones, and that's what this seems to be. Yeah, that's all this is. Because they're just stupid. But like Zap Comics, and this one is not. This one, I mean, somebody did the whole thing. I don't know, why do people do that? But these Zap Comics are, they just get destroyed. And these usually have the artwork of my favorite artist, Robert Crumb. And I've got a huge collection of those. I'll definitely show, stuff like this. That's the stuff that I love. Actually, the pages are not that yellow. That's the light for some reason. But that's the kind of stuff I love that you could just, stare at all day. There's just so much going on there. And that you don't see that anymore. That's like serious technique. So this is like a pirate story, and then all this, and then so like this is the stuff that you want this comic book for. That is it. That's the stuff. Just this is where you find this art. Oh, one page was upside down and the other one isn't. It might even be the same image, but like this art is lost in these comic books. And you just have to go, oh, it's kind of half as... So that's one side, and that's the other side. But comic book, like the whole thing is like that. So this work is just, it's lost in these comic books. I mean, print runs, these didn't have print runs. They made as many as they needed, I mean, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work that was done in the 70s and the 60s. It's obviously revolved around the drug culture, but I mean, look at the little eye guys down here. These guys are awesome. That is the stuff. Such good stuff. Not in the best shape, but you're never going to find those in pristine condition. Oh, nice. So, I am doing the Avengers, the A+X series, but it's the Avengers vs. X-Men. I'm going to get that whole series. Because there was talk about how this is going to play inevitably could inevitably play into some Gigantros, movie. And it's a cool looking series. And I have some of when I ordered that box from Mile High Comics, I got some exclusives in there. That's why I got turned on to the whole series to begin with. This is the what if Wolverine had been Lord of the Vampires during Inferno. The reason I got this cover was this one's being copied big time right now. They're swiping this one like crazy. I didn't even know what the story was. I just saw how they were swiping it, and I was like, oh, I gotta get that. This is by Pacella? Probably Pacella. Guessing. This is rather 1992, but great cover. Wow, that was a very uninspiring mail call. There are so many cool things on the way. So the other thing I just wanted to show you was... Where'd it go? I can't find it. It was a Seinkovich cover that they have at Slabbed Heroes. Here it is. For not a lot of money. This one right here, I think they had for $79. This is the Seinkovich Venom #1 cover, which I love. And I have not seen a lot of these floating around. You don't see these in any store. So they had this for $79, I think it was, at Slabbed Heroes, and they're the ones who are doing the buy one get half off. So definitely check that out. There was, I got some, I guess I'll probably do another show today. I've got some Peach Momoko cards that I just got. I've got the collection that I wouldn't mind showing you just while we're sort of in a Peach Momoko quiet time, which is nice. Yeah, that's about it. But I will definitely talk to you later. But if not, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day, guys.